What if I told you that the key to your success isn't what you have, but what you do with what you don't have? That the hunger you feel today, the struggles you face, could be the very things that build the future you've always dreamed of. Today, we're diving into a story that will challenge everything you think you know about success. It's the story of someone who rose from nothing, from the dirt and grit of hardship, to build something that changed lives. This isn't just a story of someone else. This could be your story too. All it takes is belief and the drive to take action. In a small, impoverished village, Ravi was born into a world where hope was scarce, and opportunity even more so. His family lived in a rundown house with walls that seemed to echo the harshness of life. His father worked as a laborer, earning just enough to feed the family, while his mother did her best to manage their meager resources. They often had to skip meals to ensure that the children didn't go hungry. Yet, Ravi never felt deprived of love. What he lacked in material wealth, he gained in a sense of family unity and resilience. His school, a dilapidated building with torn books and broken benches, offered little hope for the future. Most of his classmates would drop out by the time they were 15, forced into labor to support their families. But Ravi was different. He was determined to make something of himself. His dreams were filled with visions of success, of one day becoming someone who could change the world. But even those dreams seemed so distant, so unattainable, that they often felt like illusions. At night, when the rest of the village slept, Ravi would sit by the dim light of a kerosene lamp, reading whatever books he could find. He wasn't just studying for school, he was studying the lives of people who had made it, those who had come from nothing and built empires. Books on technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship became his refuge, his escape from the harsh reality that surrounded him. But those moments of solitude were rare. His family struggled to get by, and his dreams felt further and further away with each passing day. Yet, the spark of hope that burned in Ravi's heart refused to be extinguished. He knew that if he ever wanted to leave the cycle of poverty behind, he would have to fight for it. There was no one to help him, no one to hold his hand and show him the way. It was up to him, and him alone, to make a change. Despite the overwhelming circumstances, Ravi never gave up on his dreams. Every day felt like a battle, but he saw each struggle as a step towards something greater. His mind became filled with stories of people who had built their empires from nothing. He often walked through the fields, imagining a life far beyond the walls of his village. One day, during his reflections, Ravi came across a book about Steve Jobs, an entrepreneur who, like him, had once been an outsider with no advantages, yet changed the world through sheer willpower. Jobs' story lit a fire in Ravi. It made him believe that anyone could rise to greatness, regardless of their background. But there was a problem. Ravi had no money, no resources, and no one believed in him. Despite this, his passion for learning and technology grew stronger every day. He taught himself coding through online tutorials and borrowed books. Each small victory, understanding a line of code, mastering a new concept, felt like a triumph. Technology became his way out, the key to his future. Ravi's curiosity expanded beyond coding. He wanted to understand how successful companies worked, what made them thrive, and how he could create something of value. But with each new discovery, his world felt even smaller. How could a boy from a village with no money or connections compete in a world of giants? The answer, Ravi realized, wasn't in wealth or connections. It was in his ability to adapt, his hunger to learn, and his sheer grit. While the world seemed to offer him nothing, Ravi began to see opportunities where others saw none. His belief that struggle was temporary and that success was within reach grew stronger each day. At 18, Ravi made the life-altering decision to leave his family behind and head to the city, a place he believed could offer him better opportunities. He had no money, no guaranteed job, and no real idea of how he was going to survive. But he knew that in order to change his life, he had to take this leap of faith. The journey to the city was long and grueling. With only a few hundred rupees in his pocket, Ravi slept in bus terminals and ate whatever he could afford. The city, with its tall buildings and bright lights, was overwhelming. Everything felt so foreign, so far from the life he had known. But as the days went by, Ravi grew more determined. He found a small place to stay, working in menial jobs during the day to cover his expenses. At night, he spent hours learning coding, reading, and studying business strategies. It was a life of constant struggle, and for the first few months, Ravi felt completely out of place. He saw other young people around him attending expensive courses, networking with influential people, and moving ahead in their careers. And then there was him, working 18-hour days, barely scraping by, and learning alone. But he never allowed himself to feel sorry. In those moments of self-doubt, Ravi would remind himself, success doesn't come easily. The greatest achievers in the world didn't make it by following the easy path. They chose the path that was hardest, the one that demanded sacrifice. He knew that the sacrifices he was making now would be the stepping stones to his success. Each rejection, each failure, Each night spent learning was bringing him closer to the person he needed to become. Ravi's first real venture into entrepreneurship was born out of desperation and determination. After spending months developing a mobile app, he pitched it to investors and launched it to the public. He was sure that this would be the product to change everything. But despite his hard work, the app failed spectacularly. The technical side of things was solid, but Ravi had overlooked one crucial factor. He hadn't understood the market. The product didn't solve a pressing problem, and users were unimpressed. The feedback was harsh, and the app was soon removed from the app stores. Ravi felt crushed. In one instant, all his dreams seemed to evaporate. The pressure of failure bore down on him, and for the first time, he wondered if he had made a mistake. Had he wasted all that time? Had he misjudged everything? But in that moment, Ravi realized something that changed the course of his life. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Every successful entrepreneur had faced setbacks. Every billionaire had failed. What mattered was not the failure itself, but how you responded to it. Ravi chose to learn. He analyzed. Just when Ravi thought he had hit rock bottom, fate intervened. At a tech conference, he met Rajiv, a well-known entrepreneur who had once been in his shoes. Rajiv had started with nothing, built his company from the ground up, and had faced his own struggles. Rajiv was exactly what Ravi needed, a mentor. Under Rajiv's guidance, Ravi learned not just about business but about life. Rajiv taught him the importance of patience, the power of networking, and how to build something that could scale. He helped Ravi understand that success wasn't about a single product or a single idea. It was about building a foundation. Rajiv also introduced Ravi to the concept of resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, learn from failure, and use adversity as fuel for growth. Ravi began to see the path ahead more clearly. He realized that it wasn't about rushing to the top. It was about steady, persistent progress. After years of struggle, Ravi's persistence finally paid off. He launched a new app, a platform that connected small businesses with customers. This time, he had done his research, understood the market, and most importantly, had learned from his failures. The app quickly gained traction. Small businesses began using it, and customers were happy with the results. Investors took notice, and soon, Ravi found himself surrounded by a team of talented individuals who shared his vision. But Ravi never forgot where he came from. He continued to be grounded, never letting success define him. He knew that every milestone, no matter how big or small, was a result of the countless sacrifices and struggles he had faced. His journey from a young boy with no resources to a self-made entrepreneur had been a long one, but he knew that this was just the beginning. With the lessons he had learned, the resilience he had built, and the vision he held, Ravi was ready to change the world. Ravi's first real breakthrough came when he created a basic app, a simple tool designed to help people in his village. The app helped local farmers keep track of weather forecasts, planting seasons, and crop prices. It wasn't revolutionary, but it was useful, and it worked. The village community responded well. People began to trust Ravi, not because of his background or wealth, but because he had provided something of value. This small success gave him the confidence he needed to keep going. Ravi realized that the key to success wasn't about trying to build something world-changing from the start. It was about starting small, solving real problems, and gradually improving. He didn't have a fancy office or a team of investors, but he had something far more valuable: trust. With this small win under his belt, Ravi knew that his journey had just begun. He could make a difference, one step at a time. With his first app a success, Ravi set his sights on bigger goals. He worked tirelessly to improve the app, adding new features and making it more user-friendly. But as he scaled, the challenges grew. This time, the challenges weren't just technical, they were personal. Ravi faced doubts from his family, who didn't understand what he was trying to achieve. Friends questioned his decision to focus so much on an uncertain future, and the financial strain of investing in his dreams started to wear on him. But Ravi wasn't deterred. He knew the path to success wasn't meant to be easy. In fact, the more difficult it became, the more determined he became. He doubled down on learning, reaching out to others in the tech world, and participating in online forums to gain new insights. Persistence, he realized, was the key. No matter how hard the journey became, he had to keep moving forward, even if it meant taking small, incremental steps. Every challenge was an opportunity to learn, grow, and build resilience. Ravi's journey was still a lonely one, but he wasn't alone for long. He began to reach out to people in the tech industry, many of whom had once been where he was, isolated, with no resources, but full of ambition. He found mentors who saw his potential and believed in his dream. One of his mentors, a successful entrepreneur who had built his own company from scratch, took Ravi under his wing. The advice he received was invaluable. His mentor didn't promise instant success, but he taught Ravi the importance of networking, strategic thinking, and leveraging available resources. With his mentor's guidance, Ravi started to see his business through a new lens. He learned to focus on long-term goals, not just short-term wins. He learned the importance of building relationships and creating a network of like-minded individuals who could help him along the way. After years of hard work, failures, lessons, and persistence, Ravi was ready for his big launch. He had developed an entirely new platform, an online marketplace for local businesses to reach a wider audience. This was the moment that would define his future. Ravi's app quickly gained traction, and the world started to take notice. Small businesses that had once struggled to compete now had a platform to grow. Investors began to pour in, and Ravi found himself at the center of something much bigger than he had ever imagined. It was the result of years of silent work, discipline, and an unwavering belief in himself. The success didn't come overnight, but Ravi knew that the journey was far from over. The moment was only a milestone on a much larger path. His success was not just about launching a successful app. It was about proving to himself and others that dreams, no matter how impossible they may seem, can come true. The key to his journey had always been simple: believe in yourself, stay persistent, and never stop learning. Ravi's journey from a small village to a successful entrepreneur is a testament to the power of belief and persistence. His story shows us that no matter how overwhelming life may seem, success is not determined by where you start, but by the strength to keep moving forward when the world seems to close in around you. It wasn't the resources Ravi lacked that held him back, but the belief that he could overcome any challenge. He turned every setback into a lesson, every failure into an opportunity, and every doubt into fuel for his drive. He proved that with grit, anything is possible. And the most powerful lesson of all, you don't need a perfect start to make a difference. Whether you come from a small village, a large city, or somewhere in between, you have everything you need inside you. The journey is never easy, but every step forward counts. Ravi didn't just build an app, he built a legacy of determination, a reminder to all of us that greatness is not reserved for a select few. It's for anyone who dares to dream, works relentlessly, and believes in their vision. So, ask yourself, what is stopping you from starting? What is holding you back from turning your dreams into reality? Like Ravi, you have the power to take the first step today. Start, build, believe, and let your own story become one of triumph.